You're listening to Central Time on the Ideas Network of Wisconsin Public Radio. I'm Veronica Rickert.
And I'm Rob Farrett. Coming up, a look at the stigma of mental illness after reports that the Washington, D.C. Navy Yard shooter heard voices and may have showed other signs of mental illness. News outlets are reporting that suspected Navy Yard shooter Aaron Alexis had mental problems and heard voices. He's accused of killing 12 people in a shooting spree on Monday morning in Washington, D.C.'s Navy Yard. He was killed in a shootout with police.
Our next guest works on issues related to the stigma that can surround mental illness and how stories like this can affect the way we think about it. Sue McKenzie joins us now. She's the director of Rogers in Health and the facilitator for the Wisconsin Initiative for Stigma Elimination, otherwise known as WISE. Sue, welcome to Central Time.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Well, what are some of the assumptions that people make about other people with mental illnesses?
Well, I think I would begin with the assumptions that someone with mental illness makes about themselves. Imagine if today you began to hear voices, what kind of self-talk you would have about that experience. And then imagine how it might be different if you had met people throughout your life who had had the experience of hearing voices or delusions and saw them as people that, learned about their illness, learned how to deal with that, found the right treatment. So then when you began to experience something like a delusion or hearing voices, how different your reaction would be had you had that opportunity to meet and be with people who had also had that experience.
So does that happen very often? I mean, do you think that people can look at a point of reference and say, well, that's similar to this person that I know, or is there something that's holding that back from happening?
Well, I think people that have the opportunity to know people with mental illness are much more likely to take that person's experience into account if they experience a mental illness. But no, I don't think it happens very often. I think that we are a culture of secrecy when it comes to mental illness. It's pretty obvious that if I'm a mother and my child falls down and breaks their leg, I'm going to be calling friends and asking for help, and they're going to be dropping by with casseroles. And if I have a child who suddenly doesn't want to go to school, is too anxious or depressed, and I can't understand it myself, and I haven't experienced it, I'm not likely to be calling my friends and telling them what's going on and asking for help. We tend to keep that a secret too long.
So what you're describing is sort of a culture of isolation around mental illness. So then how do people come out and decide it's time to get help?
Yeah, that's a great question. What we've done at WISE is to begin to learn really from the researchers, and it's amazing, but we actually have researchers across the world that are looking at what works to reduce the stigma. And what they've found is that it is the contact that we have with people with mental illness that helps us to have less stereotypes and prejudice and discrimination. So in order for me to have a contact with someone with a mental illness, that person has to feel like it's a safe environment to talk to me about their experience. And that's a catch-22. If I don't understand the mental illness, I may not provide the safe environment that's needed for someone to be able to share their experience with me. So one of the things that we're trying to do is help people to think about their own experiences is kind of gold, and that I have this opportunity, I have a story and experience to share, and how can I share that in a very safe way with a few people so that I can begin to have a community support around me. And, since almost 50% of us are going to experience something like this in our lifetime, the chances are that as we begin to speak to those safe people, we're going to hear stories ourselves as we share ours. The other thing that we're doing at Rogers in Health is filming people who have stories and putting them up free and accessible on our website. Stories, they're short, less than 10-minute stories, and begin to share those with others, these experiences of recovery, so that we lessen the fear.
How do you think we're doing with this storytelling and being honest and coming out to the public? I was in a doctor's office this morning, and I saw People magazine, and I think it was Amanda Bynes talks about her mental illness, and I think a week ago I saw Catherine Zeta-Jones' mental illness struggles. Is it becoming something more that we are talking about as a culture, do you think?
I do think we're talking about it more. I think that we used to think if we just could get enough celebrities to come out about this, that it would be helpful. And again, if we go back to the research, what we're finding is it really the power of peers. That, if I think that you are like me and I hear your story, I'm much less likely to say, oh, she doesn't know, or this couldn't be me, or we're so different. So it's important that people in high-profile places share their story, but it's also important that our friends and families and coworkers have safe environments to be able to share their stories.
What effect do you think it has when there is, an incident of violent crime like we saw with the Navy Yard shooting, and the person involved shows signs of mental illness? What effect does that have on people?
It's really tough, isn't it? The stories, the more we hear them, for me, because of the work I've been really honored to do, I look at those stories and I become curious. I wonder, if this person did in fact, and I don't know the facts in this particular case, but if this person did in fact hear voices, what did that person think of themselves? How did they react? How safe did they feel to share that? And the longer any of us, whatever it is we're dealing with, the longer that we let it go, the tougher it is and the more ingrained it becomes. And I've heard phenomenal stories from young children up through older adults talking about their challenges of mental illness and how ingrained some of the negative thinking about themselves became. But once they kind of opened that door and began to look towards recovery and options with hope and found other people like themselves, they were able to take some really, really amazing steps to live the life that they wanted to lead. I think it's unfortunate, these stories, because they just point out to me how many people are isolated and isolated way too long.
We're talking right now with Sue McKenzie, Director of Rogers in Health, and the facilitator for the Wisconsin Initiative for Stigma Elimination, otherwise known as WISE.
We want to hear about your experiences. Do you or someone in your family, your circle of friends, have mental illness? Has it been treated like a shameful secret, something that the world shouldn't know about? Or is it something that's talked about and shared with people? Come out of the closet, if I can borrow that phrase from another world. You're listening to Central Time here on the Ideas Network.
We're talking right now with Sue McKenzie, Director of Rogers in Health and the facilitator for the Wisconsin Initiative for Stigma Elimination.
We're talking about stigma that can surround mental illness, especially with headlines like those about the shooter in the Washington, D.C. Navy Yard. Some reports that he heard voices may have had other signs of mental illness. Want to hear your stories. Do you think there's a stigma? Have you or someone in your family been reluctant to talk about a mental health issue because of it? 800-642-1234 or send an email, talk@wpr.org.
And we'll go to the phones first. We have Pam with us from Wisconsin Dells. Hi, Pam.
Hi.
Hi, what do you think?
Well, my situation with my family is we have a granddaughter who is born out of wedlock, so there's no marriage between my son and the mother. And we did not know the mother previously to become aware of the child being born. Serious mental issues. Severe bipolar. I mean, this girl will be up for weeks at a time. She hallucinates at times. She's got a metabolizing problem, so her medication has to be changed like every 3 months. So there's a lot of in and out of the hospital sometimes, and it took like 3 years before we were finally told what the heck was going on, because I'm sure she was scared to tell us because of the stigma of mental illness.
So delaying, right. Yeah, delaying based on stigma. It takes a longer time for people to get attention.
A long time. And when she didn't know us any better than we knew her, so she was afraid. But now that she's talked to us about it, we all know what's going on. She calls when she needs help. It's so much better now that it's out in the open and we know everything that is wrong. And, she's assured we're not going to try and get her daughter taken away from her.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that call, Pam. Sue, what do you think about that? Is that common that because people are scared to talk about what's going on, that they just delay making things better and getting the treatment they need?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Both a sad story, but also a really helpful story. I mean, how cool that family was able to open their arms around something that it sounds like they didn't know much about and are working towards finding answers, which, I'm confident because, when it comes to mental illness, it really is hopeful. It's not a quick turnaround quite often, and that's something we as a culture have to get used to, that medication can be very helpful. It's not the answer. I had a man tell me one time that, the medication is the leg up for the hard work of healing, and that time that it takes to heal and find what works in recovery, to have that support of that family around that young woman and her child is awesome. I wish them the best.
All right, and the best from House as well. And Pam, thank you for that call. And to AJ in La Crosse. Hi, AJ.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
What do you think? What's your story?
Well, I'm living with bipolar. I've had about every single diagnosis there is. I'm 39. I first became ill when I was 17 when participating in a Civil War reenactment down in Missouri. I went down perfectly sane. He came back requiring 4 months of psychiatric hospitalization. They thought someone had given me some kind of a hallucinogen, and they took my urine samples and didn't find any drug metabolites in my urine and started the trial of neuroleptics. But Clozaril is what helped me to get better. And, boy, I would just say for those who are dealing with this issue, just hang in there. Stick with your medicines. It's baby steps day by day. And do the homework of the therapies that will get you better, because if you don't do them, it's not going to get better. They can be really painful, but it's really good in teaching you how to delay immediate gratification. You can look at it that way. So.
Well, AJ, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling and sharing that and telling your story. Just like Sue was talking about, getting these stories out is so important for people who might be listening. What would you say to AJ, Sue?
Well, first of all, what a great example. You can just feel from him the wisdom that he's gained through a tough road, what a powerful person he can be in other people's lives. If we have environments where he is feeling safe to be able to play that role for others, where he can speak about his experience and not worry about getting fired or being treated differently or not welcomed in a church or wherever, he comes to us as an asset with that level of wisdom. So, yeah, I applaud him.
Well, Sue, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, and thank you so much for covering this subject.
We're talking with Sue McKenzie. She's director of Rogers in Health and the facilitator for the Wisconsin Initiative for Stigma Elimination, or WISE. And if you'd like to comment on this, maybe weigh in with your thoughts about the term mental illness and how comfortable you are with that, or maybe you just want to tell your story and get it out there for people to see, you can do so on the Central Time Facebook page.
This is Central Time here on the Ideas Network of Wisconsin Public Radio.